Today, we're going to hook the Wizard of Us together, the pattern period of the small blanket, long needle, the forward pull needle of the long needle, and the reverse pull needle of the long needle, combined weave. First, let's look at the method of holding the thread. Aim your left palm at our big face. The right hand picks up the braided thread from the little finger and the seam between the ring finger front to back. Pass through and pull up from back to front. The seam between the middle and index fingers is backwards. After bypassing our index finger, homeopathically pass it between the middle finger and the thumb and pinch it. Hold the crochet in your right hand. Aim the crochet hook at our big face. First hook 26 lock pins. Place the crochet behind the braided thread, bottom up. Take a circle and pull the crochet from back to front. A coil forms in the crochet. Use your thumb and middle finger to pinch where the coils are crossed. Crochet. Line from back to front. Hook the coil on the crochet. The first lock pin is hooked. Then use the same method to hook 25 more lock pins. Crochet tape passes through the coil on the crochet. Second lock pin when we hook the blanket. Ends can be looser. The coils on the crochet keep the same tightness. The hook needle will be relatively uniform. We're going to do it the same way. Let's hook the 24 lock pins together. A total of 26 lock pins were hooked. And then we take the first line. The first line has a total of 25 long needles and one seamless hook. The long needle rising needle first hooks a lock needle. Crochet through the 26th lock stitch. Pick up the lock pin this edge above the braid. Crochet with thread hooked out. There are 2 coils on the crochet. Then crochet with thread. Simultaneously hook the 2 coils on the crochet. Then insert the crochet into the outermost corner of the needle in the coil on the side. Crochet with a line hooked out. There are 2 coils on the crochet. Crochet 2 coils on the crochet. Just hook the long needle on the lock needle. Traceless standing needle after the standing needle is hooked. We are the first one on the uplift needle. Pick up the 2 sides of the pigtail on the pigtail. Hang the mark buckle. And we're going to do the first line of 25 long needles. 25 long needles in the first row. Pick up the top edge of the lock pin to crochet. Crochet with thread in the lock needle into the needle. Pick up an edge above the lock pin. Crochet. There are 3 coils on the crochet. Then crochet with thread. Hook out the first 2 coils of crochet. Crochet with line. Hook out the back 2 coils on the crochet. We hooked a long needle. Hook another long needle. Crochet with thread in the lock needle into the needle. Pick up an edge above the lock pin. Crochet. There are 3 coils on the crochet. Crochet with line. Hook out the first 2 coils on the crochet. Crochet with wire to hook out the last 2 coils on the crochet. We hook the second long needle. Then use the same method. Crochet the remaining 23 long needles in the first row. That's it. We have hooked the long needle in the first line. We then flip the branching from right to left. Now we crochet below, and then we do the second row. The second line first hooks a long needle with a seamless upright needle. Elongate the coil on the crochet. This length and the long needle in our first row. The length is about the same. Then crochet. Circle down. The middle finger of the right hand is pressed. Don't let go of the first coil on the crochet. Then crochet into the needle at the position of the first needle. Then crochet with thread. There are 3 calls on the hook. Then crochet and wind. Stick the first 2 calls on the crochet at the same time. Release the middle finger of your right hand. There are still 2 quills on the crochet at this time. Then crochet and wind. Hook out the 2 calls on the crochet. We hooked a long needle without a trace. Stand up needle after the stand up needle is hooked. We are raising the needle on the first braid above. Pick up both sides of the braid. Hang the mark buckle. Then we take the second line. The second row consists of 6 spin pulling needles of the long needle. The 6 needle reverse pull needle of the long needle is a group. Repeat the 2 groups. So let's start with this. Let's look at the crocheting method of the long needle and the pulling needle. Crochet winding. Needle the first small pillar in the first length. Right gap into the needle, penetrate laterally in the gap on the left side of the small pillar, then crochet with thread to hook out and pull up coil height, and the first seamless rising pin is about the same height. Just do it. At this time, there are a total of 3 calls on the crochet. Then crochet with line hook the first 2 quills on the crochet. Crochet with line hook the last 2 quills on the crochet. We hook the positive pull needle of the first long needle. Use the same method, just hook the positive pulling needles of 5 long needles. Crochet with thread on the front of the knit. Crochet is inserted laterally on both sides of the small pillar. Crochet with thread, hook out and pull up the coil. Crochet with thread. Pick out the first 2 coils. The hook needle belt line hooks out the last 2 coils. We hook the pulling needle for the second long needle. Then use the same method to tick again. Pull needles with furlong needles. That's it. We will hook the 6 spin positive pulling needle of the long needle, then hook the reverse pull needle of 6 long needles. Crochet with thread drawn back from the reverse side of the fabric, small pillar, transverse needle insertion on both sides. Thread and then crochet with thread. Broadcast. Pull up the coil, then crochet with thread. Hook out the first 2 coils. Crochet belt line hook out after 2 coils. We just hooked a long needle pull back needle. The pulling needle of the long needle is on the front of the knit, crocheted horizontally through small pillars. The reverse pull needle of the long needle is from reverse side of the fabric into the needle, lateral through the small pillars. Pull up the coil and crochet. That same method. Then hook the reverse pull needle of the second long needle. Crochet with thread, then crochet from the reverse side of the fabric, the next small pillar, through the void, lateral penetration, then crochet with thread. Tick. There are 3 calls on the crochet. Crochet with line hook out the first 2 quills on the crochet. Hook with line hook the last 2 quills on the crochet. Reverse the needle and we'll hook 2. Then we use the same method again. Hook the reverse pull needle with furlong needles. A total of 6 reverse pull needles are hooked. Six forward pulling needles and 6 reverse pulling needles for long needles. We're hooked. 6 spin forward pulling needle and 6 spin reverse pulling needle are group. The second row repeats the hook for 2 groups. Then we'll hook the second set, 6 needles of long needle, 6 needles of positive pull needle, and 6 needles of long needle. Reverse pull needle. Crochet with thread. Insert the needle horizontally on both sides of the front small pillar and hook it out. Six positive pulling needles, then hook 6 reverse bands. The second group of 6 long needle pulling needles and the reverse pull needle of 6 long needles is hooked on the position of the seamless standing pin of the marking buckle. We hook a long needle, crochet with thread, milk needle, crochet. There are 3 coils on the crochet. Crochet with wire to hook out the first 2 coils. Crochet belt line hook out after 2 coils. We'll hook the second row, then move the branching from right to left, spin it around, and then we take the third line. The third line uses the same method. Hook a seamless standing needle first, then hook the positive pull needles of 6 long needles. The reverse pulling needles of 6 long needles are in a group. Just take 2 groups in total. First, hook a seamless upright needle, pull up the coil, go around. In the milk needle, crochet with line hook out. Crochet with wire to hook out the first 2 coils. Crochet belt line hook out after 2 coils. On the first braid of the upright needle, pick up 2 sides. Hang a mark buckle. The third and second lines are the same. 6 long needle pulling needles. It is a group with 6 long needle reverse pulling needles. A total of 2 groups were hooked. The positive pulling needles of 6 long needles are hooked. Then hook the reverse pull needle of 6 long needles. After one set is ticked, we will tick the second set. After both groups are hooked, insert the needle at the last marked buckle position. Hook another long needle. Line 3 is good enough for us.